So we have some slightly new information in regards to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and its potential combat changes from Remake. Before we get into this news, if you could click the like button and subscribe if you want to keep up to date with Final Fantasy news, it would be greatly appreciated. I'm trying my best to reach 1,000 subs and I'm a little over halfway there. So this update comes to us from the Final Fantasy VII Remake Ultimania, which was a companion book to 7 Remake filled with tons of information and behind the scenes tidbits from the developers. Some dedicated fans have translated portions of the book. This translation was done by Shinra Archaeology Department on Twitter, but we're using the transcript provided by Games Radar. In this translated interview, they speak with Final Fantasy VII Remake's lead battle programmer, Satoru Koyama, where he speaks on wanting the combat for Rebirth to surpass what was established not only in 7 Remake, but in Final Fantasy 12 with the Gambit system. Koyama states, "This time around, we had it so AI teammates could only perform the attack command in order to allow players to switch between characters as they fight. However, next time I'd like to create an AI that can juggle a variety of techniques and magic. My goal is to surpass Final Fantasy XII's Gambit system. I'd also like to focus more energy into aspects that support player control, such as Classic Mode, where characters fight automatically. I think it's a shame when people can't play a game they're interested in just because they aren't skilled with action-oriented mechanics." End of quote. Ba-boom, ba-boom, boom, boom. Shots fired at Final Fantasy XVI for being action. Boom, 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 boom. Obviously, that's not what's going on here. But I can see the headlines already taking that quote out of context. Final Fantasy VII developer slams Final Fantasy XVI for being too action-based. It's dumb, it's stupid, it has nothing to do with that, but you can bet your butt that websites are going to run with a headline like that just to stir up trouble and cause controversy within the Final Fantasy community. So granted, the Ultimania was released in 2020, so it's possible that a lot has changed with Rebirth's combat system since then, but these quotes are very interesting to me. I absolutely loved 7 Remake's battle system. Switching characters on the fly while also issuing commands to the characters I wasn't controlling left combat always feeling fresh and led to some unique combo moments. Plus, there were some battles that required you to consistently switch between your characters, not just to build up your ATB, but to throw your opponent for a loop, making it hard for them to track one specific character. One gripe I did have was I wish my AI partners were a little bit more aggressive with their attacks. When being controlled by the AI, all they could do was attack and defend, unless you issued them a command. So that's a bit of a nitpick for me personally. Some players absolutely hated switching between characters and wanted to focus solely on one character throughout the whole game. I don't understand that personally, but to each their own. Now, for full transparency, it's been a very long time since I played Final Fantasy XII, and when I did play it, I didn't make it very far into the story. Unfortunately, it was a Final Fantasy that just didn't pull me in, which I know is going to be sacrilegious for many fans out there, but sometimes that's just how it be. From what I vaguely remember of 12's Gambit system, it was a system that lets you essentially set up how a character would behave in battle. I'm sure that's an overly simplified definition, so if any viewers out there could elaborate more, that would be lovely. As for the proposed changes to Rebirth's combat system, I would love for my AI party members to be more aggressive, but also to utilize their materia and abilities without me always having to issue the commands. The idea of Barret automatically attacking using his abilities and casting magic on his own sounds really awesome, instead of having to rely on materia to tell the AI to do certain things, like use a potion when someone's HP drops below a certain amount. The one drawback could be that perhaps the AI uses MP right before you're wanting to issue them a command, causing higher consumption rates for MP and ATB. I am still hoping for dual tech attacks like we saw in Yuffie's DLC, where she could team up with Sonon for special attacks. The idea of Tifa jumping onto Cloud's sword as he launches her in the air for an attack just seems too cool to not do in the sequel. And yes, I am aware at how dirty that scenario sounds. It's also worth noting that Final Fantasy XVI will also have AI-controlled companions that will join you in certain parts of your journey. Clive's dog Torgal will join him for most of his journey, with the player being able to issue him commands via the D-pad. However, the human characters that join Clive will be 100% controlled by the AI, without the option to issue them commands. So it'll be fascinating to see how aggressive their AI ends up being, especially since since 16 is more action-oriented than 7 Remake. The approach between the developers of 7 Remake's trilogy and Final Fantasy 16 is also very interesting. Both groups are taking completely different approaches to their gameplay. 16 is very much an action-oriented game that will assist players in some aspects of the combat, but will still require some crazy controller acrobatics in battle. 7 Remake is offering the opposite, a combat system rooted in RPG elements with action perfectly balanced in. Square having 2 major Final Fantasy games with something different in their gameplay is really smart and offers something for everyone. Now with that being said, that is the end of the video. Please leave any of your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think of these comments made by the lead programmer for the 7 Remake trilogy? What do you want to see changed in Rebirth's combat system? Do you want to see the AI be a little bit more independent so you don't have to rely on them too much in terms of babysitting and issuing commands? Or did you think that the battle system that they established in Remake was fine and not too much really needs to be changed? And also let me know what you think of Final Fantasy 16's combat system in the comments down below. Again, it's a very polarizing game, but I feel like after that PAX East panel event, it's changed a lot of people's minds in regards to how they view the game. So with that being said, I am Curious Corduroy. I will see you guys in the next video. Please remember to always be excellent to one another.